only opened the letter because my name was on it. It wasn't curiosity that made me do it, more like a reflex. A force of habit. You see, official-looking mail in my life usually meant one thing: trouble. More forms to fill out, more problems to solve, more things that no one ever bothered to explain properly. I was standing there, in the tiny kitchen of my one-bedroom apartment, the old fluorescent light above me flickering like it was about to give up. My coffee had gone cold on the counter. I tore the envelope open without much thought and started skimming the first few lines. That's when my stomach just dropped. The words leaped off the page. Inquiry regarding previously issued child support payments. My heart started pounding in my chest, a frantic, heavy drumbeat. Child support? What child support? I had never, ever received child support. Not as a little kid, not as a teenager, not ever. My mother had told me the same story my entire life, over and over. Your father doesn't pay. He just disappeared. It's just us. We're on our own. And I believed her. Why wouldn't I? So, I worked. I started working early and I worked hard. I delivered newspapers before the sun came up. I stocked shelves at the local grocery store. I worked night shifts that left me exhausted for school the next day. I did it all with this constant, tight knot in my chest, a voice that was always whispering that money was dangerous, that we never had enough, and that I had to be grateful for every single scrap. I stumbled back and sat down hard at my little kitchen table. My hands were shaking so much I could barely hold the letter still. I forced myself to read it again, but this time slowly, word for word. There were numbers staring back at me, dates, a long list of monthly payments. And then there was one detail that made my vision blur, that made the whole world tilt on its axis. The recipient of all those payments was my mother. I must have read that line 3 times, maybe 4. The letter was clear. It explained that child support had been paid out regularly, like clockwork, for years. Not to me, to her. Suddenly, my ears started ringing. It was a strange, high-pitched sound, and through it, I could hear her voice in my head, as clearly as if she were standing right there with me. Be grateful for what you have. I sacrificed everything for you. You'd have absolutely nothing without me. We barely survived. Every one of those familiar phrases, all those sentences that had defined my childhood, suddenly felt different, tainted. They sounded like lies. My hand, still trembling, reached for my phone. I dialed the number printed on the bottom of the letter. When someone answered, my own voice sounded hollow and distant, like it was coming from someone else. The woman on the other end of the line was calm, professional. She listened to my questions patiently. Yes, she confirmed. The payments were real. Yes, they were consistent, sent every single month for years. No, there was absolutely no record of that money ever being transferred to me or into an account for my benefit. She asked if I could confirm that I had never received the funds. I tried to answer, but no words came out. I couldn't speak. I just sort of choked on the air and hung up. After the call, I just sat there in the silence. The low hum of the refrigerator, a sound I never usually notice, felt deafening. The kitchen felt like it was closing in on me. And then the memories started flooding back. It was like a dam breaking. I saw images of school trips I couldn't afford to go on. The worn-out shoes I tried to hide from my friends. The constant, gnawing shame of having to lie to teachers about why my homework wasn't done or why I didn't have the right supplies. The endless apologies for simply needing things, for being a kid who needed to be taken care of. And through all of it, she knew. She had the money. She had always known. That's when a switch flipped inside me. The shock and the sadness started to morph into a cold, hard resolve. I started digging. I pulled out old boxes of paperwork. I scrolled through years of text messages. I searched for old bank records online. I found voice notes she'd sent me, her voice dripping with pity, talking about how tight things were financially. I saved everything. Screenshots, copies of documents, audio files. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, but I kept going, fueled by a strange new energy. Then I found them. A folder of old documents she had never shown me. Official notices from the child support agency. My name was right there on them. And right below my name, her bank account number was listed as the destination for the funds. That's when the first twist hit me. and it was hard enough to make me feel physically sick. My father hadn't abandoned me financially. He had been paying every single month for years. All those stories of him being a deadbeat, all that resentment I'd carried for him. It was built on a foundation of lies. Then came the second twist. I called her. I took a deep breath, hit the record button on my phone, and tried to keep my voice as calm and steady as I could. I asked her about the letter. "What do you mean child support?" She laughed. It was that same familiar, dismissive laugh she always used when she thought I was being dramatic. "Oh, that money?" She said. "That was for the household. It was for raising you." I pressed her. I asked about the specific amounts, the years of payments. Her tone changed instantly. The warmth vanished, replaced by a sharp defensive edge. "You're exaggerating," she snapped. "You were always so ungrateful. You have no idea how hard it was." And then she said the one sentence that sealed it all. "Without me, you would have starved." That was it. That was the final confirmation. Hearing those words, I knew. I wasn't confused. I wasn't being dramatic. And I wasn't wrong. The manipulation was so clear, so undeniable. My next steps felt methodical, almost automatic. I went to the bank and got official statements. I found a legal advisor who helped me understand my rights. Then I went to the police. Step by step, I built my case. Each time I handed over another piece of evidence, a document, a recording, a letter, it felt like I was tearing off another layer of my own childhood, exposing the raw truth underneath. The big confrontation, the one you see in movies, it never happened. There was no screaming match in a living room. No dramatic, tearful scene. It happened in the quiet, sterile environment of a police station. She sat across a table from me, her arms crossed tight against her chest, her face a mask of shocked innocence. But when the officer started calmly listing the amounts, the dates, the timelines, I saw it. Just for a split second, a crack appeared in her carefully constructed facade. A flicker of pure panic in her eyes. And for me, that was enough. The consequences didn't come fast. In situations like this, they never do. It became a slow, grinding process of investigations, audits, and more formal letters. There was no big explosion. It was more like the slow, quiet collapse of the control she had held over me for my entire life. In the end, I won't get all of that money back. Maybe I won't get any of it. But I realized I got something far more important. I got the truth. And with the truth, I got my freedom. Freedom from the guilt, the shame, and the lies that had shaped me for so long. If this story resonates with you, if it hits a little too close to home, I want you to know you're not alone. Sometimes the deepest betrayals don't come from strangers out in the world. They come from within our own homes, from the people we're supposed to trust the most. If you've lived through something like this, I encourage you to share your experience in the comments. Let's talk about it. Your story matters, and you deserve to be heard. Thank you for listening.